Hi, everybody, and welcome to our team call. I'm really excited to talk with you guys tonight. I want to talk a little bit in a different style than what I normally do. So I know a lot of people are like, Kacia's going to come on and drop truth bombs, which I probably will because that's just like my human nature. But this is not going to be designed in like a tough love way, but more so I want to kind of talk about like mindset in general. And I want to talk about how you can create a long-term positive mindset through different obstacles that will get thrown your way. And simply by setting personal and business boundaries now. So my goal is basically for you to leave this call not feeling like I gave you like a tough love truth bomb session, or even really a pump up, but more so that you have actionable questions that you can ask yourself and kind of start this internal conversation about how can I get myself back into the right mindset, assuming and knowing that you're going to get off track from time to time and you're not always going to have rainbows and butterflies in this business. So how can you reroute yourself back to feeling really grounded and really at peace with yourself? So I'm going to jump into that, but first I wanted to just talk to you guys real quick. If you are in the Seattle area, as you guys know, we are doing a Seattle meetup. There's a lot of coaches. I think there's about close to half of our team is in the greater Seattle area. So I'm flying to Seattle. I'm flying out tomorrow, and we're doing a potluck from 5 to 9 p.m. on Saturday, 21 Day Fix potluck. If you need deets on that and you're not in the event page, please send me a personal message and let me know if you're able to make it on Saturday from 5 to 9. And then Super Saturday is this weekend, depending upon location. For those of you that don't know, this is Beachbody's corporate quarterly event. So it's like a live workout. There's a cool corporate video. You get to meet other coaches outside of just our team. It's a really fun way to get that in-person interaction. Since we build our business so often through social media, sometimes it's really nice to have that in-person contact. And if you are in the greater Seattle area, I would love to get to meet you and squeeze you if you guys come to the Super Saturday event in Seattle, which is actually on Sunday. So that's beside the point. I hate when they call it Super Saturday and it's on Sunday. So those are my only little things for you. If you don't know about where to find a Super Saturday, they're literally across the entire country. So go to your news and breaking section, which is like the far right-hand column of your Coach Online office, and find where a local Super Saturday is to you. Post in the team page, in the Fit Foundation community, or in your uplines page, and make sure that you plug yourself in if you're available to attend one of those events because they're super fun. So, okay. Now I want to just go back to the root of this. So no more chatting. We're just going to take this in a very calm manner. So I want you guys to kind of set the stage first. So basically, if you signed up today, or you signed up yesterday, or you signed up 3 years ago, you're a leader. So I want you to go into this call with that mindset. And I also want you to go into your business as often as you can with that mindset. Okay. You're going to have to cultivate that every single day. And sometimes it's difficult to do, especially when you feel like you got off track, especially when you feel like you should be somewhere that you aren't yet, or you look outside of your lane at what everyone else around you is doing. And that's such an easy thing to do in this business. Okay. But I want you to believe that internally. And even if you don't quite believe it for yourself, as you know, you can borrow belief from other people. So you can borrow belief from people who are further along in this business, who tell you what it's going to be like in terms of some roadblocks that you might run into. You can borrow belief and confidence from other people that mentor you from afar. So that's why we talk about personal development. I feel like we beat this like a dead horse on our team, talking about the importance of personal development. But honestly, you are going to doubt yourself from time to time. So you need to be able to transfer that belief from someone else. It's a skill, honestly, to be able to hear someone tell you that you're amazing, that you're great at this, and to be able to internally process that. That's a hard thing to do sometimes, especially when you get in your head. So if you're consistently transferring belief to yourself and building up that confidence, this business is going to get easier for you, okay? So every single time that someone comes to me, and they're like, you know what, Kacia, I'm struggling with inviting. I'm struggling with tracking systems. I'm struggling with blah, blah, whatever it is. The first thing that I'm asking them is, what are you reading or what are you listening to? And I will tell you 90% of the time, that is the main solution to their problem, is they're literally just not filling themselves up internally. Because while we're all at different stages and different seasons in our business and in our life, because we're all extremely different people, even if you really vibe with your upline, we're all very different people. So we're all at very different stages and very different seasons in our life and business. So you have to understand that you're going to need a tool in your toolbox that you're plugging into. It's just like, I've used this analogy before, but it's like if you have a phone and you don't plug it into a power source, it's literally like having a really expensive paperweight. You have to plug yourself in, right? I never use analogies, so like that was a really good one, but I heard it somewhere else, so I can't take credit for that. But it's true. You got to plug yourself in, okay? So the second that you find yourself comparing yourself to someone else in this business, where they're at in this business, what they do, how they do it, how many Success Club numbers they hit, how much they rank advanced, whatever it is, that's when your own priorities that you get to determine, that we're going to talk about in a second here, take the back burner. As soon as you're looking outside of your lane, your own priorities take the back burner, right? Your mindset comes into this state of chaos and comparison, and your business, because of your mindset, starts to crumble. You should expect that that's going to happen when you're looking outside of your lane or when you're not plugging yourself into a power source. A power source, the most important one being personal development. So then what are you doing, right? Your business is crumbling. So it's this self-sabotaging downward spiral that's really scary for your business, but it's more scary for you as a person. And honestly, I care way more about you as a person than I do about your business. And that spiral just goes down deeper and deeper and deeper. That more doubt comes in, more fear comes in, anxiety comes in, whatever that is. Even if you don't think of yourself as an anxious person, when you're in that downward spiral, you're looking for things to confirm the bias that you have, right? So if you're like, I suck as a coach, you're looking for all the ways to confirm that bias, right? You're looking for the things that like, oh, of course this post didn't get any traction. Of course this person said no to me. I suck as a coach, right? Imagine if you were able to tweak your mindset where you could be in that state of, I rock at this way more than I suck at this. Like, we're all going to feel like we suck at times. I definitely feel like I suck sometimes too. But where I rock at this, and that is a conditional statement. Like I'm a kick butt coach. I even censor myself in case there's kids. I'm a kick butt coach, right? I freaking rock this business. And that's my conditional state where I'm like, I rock at this. Sometimes I feel like I suck, but it's not the conditional statement, right? It's not that I always suck. Sometimes I feel like I'm sucking, and that's okay, right? Because I know there's a lot of times that's going to happen, but I'm not going to let that fear and anxiety and doubt cloud my judgment and not make me remember that state that I'm most often in, which is I rock at this. I'm excited about this. I'm passionate about this. I'm happy to be here. I'm grateful for this is my job and this is my career path right now, So let's squash that. Right before we dig into how to actually set boundaries, which is what I want to talk to you guys about, some specific things, is that idea of comparison, right? So it's very easy to do in this business. We look at someone else, every single person, no matter how amazing you are, we've all done it. You look at someone else and you decide that you know their story. You decide that they have something that you don't have that makes it easier for them. That's when you're coming from a place of lack. Right? You're coming from this place where you're like, okay, well, this person doesn't have kids, so they don't understand. This person, has social media background, so they obviously are going to be better at this. This person doesn't have as crazy of a social life as me. Like, they obviously don't do anything with their social life. This person doesn't have a supportive boyfriend or husband. This person doesn't travel as much as I do for work. This person doesn't do X, Y, Z, yada, yada, yada. When you are saying those things, and more importantly, because a lot of us catch ourselves before we say it because we don't want to be that person that's known for being negative. But when you are thinking those things, when you're seeing someone on a Success Club board that's crushing this business, I want your mindset to go from, instead of, oh my gosh, like that person's so much better than me. Like that person kills it at this. Like, oh, it must be because they have a social media following. Oh, it must be because they've been here for XYZ. I want your brain to click to that place where it's like, they're doing something awesome. I want to learn from them. And then I want to do it my way. But I'm not going to compare my journey to someone else's journey. You know what I mean? I don't think that ever gets us anywhere that we want to go, because we're coming from that place of lack where we're constantly pointing fingers at other people. Even if we don't say it out loud, we're doing it internally. It's very easy to do in this business. It's a slippery slope, and I don't want you guys to take it. I did take that slope at the very beginning. I went diamond really quickly in my business. I got added into a group page with a bunch of other diamond coaches, of my upline Brigida's coaches. they all had nutrition back. Like they were really passionate about nutrition. They were all moms. They had newsletters and they like did all this crazy stuff. And they had like pages and huge followings on Instagram. And I was a baby diamond coach. I'd been coaching for 6 weeks. I was like, if I have to do a newsletter about nutrition, I literally don't even know what a macro is. So I'm going to be so screwed in this business. So if I would have let myself look in that lane and think that that's how I had to do this business, and I wouldn't have checked my own priorities, which is I'm going to do this in a way that feels good to me, that fills me up with joy. I'm not going to look at what XYZ person is doing. That wouldn't be fun for me. It would not be fun for me to make a nutrition newsletter because I don't like learning about nutrition, right? So why don't I cater my business to something that feels good to me and stay in my own lane? So you guys know that little like a meme that went out about Michael Phelps when it was like the Olympics and the other guy, I don't even know his name. No one knows his name because he didn't win, because they're both swimming in their lanes. And the guy that's next to Michael Phelps looks over at Michael Phelps and Michael Phelps freaking wins, right? Because the other guy was looking at what he's doing versus staying focused on his own lane. When you are in that place of lack, instead, I want you to channel what I'm going to talk to you guys about, having this strong conviction in what your specific priorities are, so that you become so secure with the way that you're building your business and knowing that it's going to adapt and evolve as your business grows. But you're so secure with how you're doing this in a way that feels good to you, doesn't just look good to your upline, doesn't just look good to corporate, doesn't just look good on paper, but actually feels good and it makes you pumped up, that you're not going to wonder what anyone else is doing because you're doing it your way and it feels good. And that is what I will credit a lot of people in the network or a lot of coaches on this team or other coaches on other teams would say I had quick success in this business. I've thought a lot about that because I didn't determine it as quick. I didn't really understand like what was going on. But I think I credit a lot of that to the fact that I decided I'm going to be really authentic and I'm going to do it my way. Whether someone else likes that or not is not my business. What anyone thinks about me or what anyone thinks about how I build my business, I'm going to do it with integrity and heart and with authenticity, my way. That's it, in my own lane. And I think that's why I wasn't so concerned with what everyone else was doing. So tonight, I want to talk about being proactive. I want to talk about getting in touch with yourself. So the first person and the only person in the entire world that you can control is yourself, right? You know that. But regardless of your tenure in this business, you have to always stay rooted in the fact that you are the number one most important person in your business, above anyone else, above the coach that out-earns you or hits higher Success Club numbers than you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who your downline coaches are, because truth of the matter is no one is guaranteed to stay here. You can only control yourself. You can guarantee that you're never going to quit. I will tell you guys, I will never quit this business. And there are a few people that are coaches in our downline that I would say would never quit this business. There's a lot of people that I've been very surprised by. But I don't get as upset about it because I know that I cannot control anyone, even my star diamond coaches, even my 6-figure earners, like those types of coaches that are really glued in this organization. Things might change in their life and they might quit, but I can control me. So if I adopt the mindset that I am the most important person in my business, no one else matters as much as me. It sounds selfish, but if I don't take care of myself, I'm putting the keys to my happiness in someone else's pocket. And I'm not willing to do that. I don't even put the keys to my happiness in my boyfriend Cena's pocket. I don't ever say, you will never see me post on social media, he makes me happy. I don't believe in that. I believe that you make yourself happy and someone can add happiness to your life. I don't believe that your happiness or your success or your livelihood should be in someone else's pocket or hands. Definitely not in your upline's hand. And if you think it's in my hands, like, no way, right? I'm not responsible for your success. I'm not responsible for your happiness. Neither is your husband. Neither is your best friend. You are responsible for that. And if you're hit with a curveball, you're going to have to think about how to reinvent that happiness. You're going to have to constantly figure out ways to fuel yourself. So say you're hit with a curveball. We're all going to be hit with curveballs. A lot of you guys don't know this, but my aunt died of cancer a couple of months ago. And that was a big curveball for our family. My little half-brother was diagnosed with cancer and my aunt died with cancer. And it was very close together. And that was a big curveball. So I had the choice at this point. Okay, how do I want this to affect me? And what do I want to do? Should I lean in or should I lean out? I leaned in and I did income producing activities. And I loved on the people that I had the bandwidth that meshed with me, that filled me up, and everything else, I didn't worry about it. I cut the fluff out, because when you're throwing a curveball or when you're not in the right state, you need to do those IPAs, those income producing activities. That's it, to keep your business afloat. But if you're not even able to do those income producing activities, then honestly, take a step back and post on social media and do personal development and just maintain your business, okay? Every single one of us is going to take a curveball, is going to get a curveball thrown at us. Something's going to happen in your life. It's not going to be smooth sailing every single day. Things happen that you would never expect. So how are you going to adapt? Are you going to lean in? Are you going to lean out? Because I have seen people that have been hit with devastating news that have, instead of chose to lean out, chose to lean in. I think you guys can probably think of someone right off the top of your head, which is Brittany Crosby. She's done an incredible job of leaning in to share her story as she's going through chemo. Homegirl's never missed a month of Success Club and she's in chemo. And instead, right now, I want you to catch your own self. Do a self-check. Are you thinking she's a magical unicorn and only Brittany can do this? Or are you thinking, I bet you I could do that too if something hit me hard? I bet you I could lean into it. I don't want you to look at her or anyone else on this team as them being so exceptional that you couldn't do what they're doing. And I'm not discrediting Brittany. She's incredible. But I'm saying I want your mindset to be like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to turn myself on, in terms of turn my brain on to happiness state, so that I'm going to be able to do the best that I can with the tools in my toolbox to pump myself up when I can, okay? So everyone can be a magical unicorn, right? So when you're in a place where you don't feel like your heart is in this business, or something's going on in your personal life, or something, comes your way that you didn't anticipate, I want you to go back to that bare minimum basics. And then I want you to redefine what success looks like in your business. Does that mean that you don't hit Success Club? Your call. I would say that success in this business does come from also hitting Success Club. That's a non-negotiable for me. I've never missed Success Club in my business, and I never will. But you get to decide what that is. No one else decides what success looks like to you. You decide what that looks like, okay? So if that means success to me, like, you can't leave people to dry. Like, I think that's pretty non-negotiable. I think we can probably all agree that if there's people in your challenge groups that trusted in you to help them, you're going to check in with your challenge groups. And if that is all you can do, you're redefining what your new normal is when you're in a different state, okay? But redefine that and then be okay with that. And don't have the expectations of when you were in this happy, awesome, amazing state, but then you got off track. You're not going to be in that happy, amazing state every single day in this business. It's just not that type of business, because you're your business, right? Your mental state, your heart, your body, but honestly, more than your body, your mental and your heart is what is your business, okay? So you have to be okay with the fact that when you're not in your prime, your business is not going to be in its prime. So what can you do to prime yourself? It's not, what is my business activity tracker going to look like? What's my upline going to think of me? What's my blah, blah, blah? It's what is going to fill you up so that you can pour, because you got to pour from the overflow. If your cup's not full, it's going to be really hard to pour. And what's going to happen is you're going to start to self-deprecate, right? You're going to start to spiral downwards. And I don't want you to do that. As a human, I don't want you to do that. So you treat yourself like you would treat your business or something you're excited about. Treat yourself better, right? Take care of yourself, because that oozes into your business. You can tell the people that are really dang excited and in a really good mental place, those people are killing it in this business, right? The people that are not quite where they want to be mentally or with their own self, those people, they're not killing it yet. But do not discount yourself. One of the top coaches on our team, someone that you guys probably all know and love, Kaylee Pierre. I don't even know if she's on the call right now. I haven't looked at who's on the call. But she is someone who, I've said this before, she literally took an entire year of personal development and growth before she killed it, quote unquote, killed it in this business. Sometimes she'd hit Success Club 16 and then she'd hit 0. She could not find her flow, and it took her a long time to find it. Would you say that she's not successful in this business? No way. I would say she's probably one of the most successful people in this business, because while it took her a year to develop the skills to have more tools in her toolbox to be set up for when bumps come in the road, she now has that skill set. So now she's crushing this business. And your story is not going to be the same as everyone's story. The reason that I did see quick success in this business is I mentally, emotionally, and in all state, I was in a really good place when I started this business. I was really excited about my life. I was really excited about my job, like outside of Beachbody. I was really excited about my new roommate. Moving across from Seattle to New York is really when things started to take off for us with the business. I was in a really good mental place. So I was super excited to work on this business. And I've definitely had times when I haven't been as good a mental place, and my business is directly correlated. So you've got to be able to lift yourself up. It's not anyone else's responsibility. If you think that your job, like when I see people that have Instagram handles that say like blah, blah, Beachbody coach, or they're like, I sell Shakeology and I do this, I think they're missing the ball totally. I'm excited about this $160 promotion for Beachbody On Demand All Access. It's a crazy deal. But you don't see me get so stoked when 21 Day Fix goes from $160 for a challenge pack to $140, because my business is not the products. If you think that your business is the products, you're missing the mark and you're selling the products. What you think, how you interact with people, how you influence people, the content that you put out, how you talk to people in your messages, that is what you're selling, if we want to use the selling word. Has zero to do with the challenge pack price and everything to do with you and how you feel. So if you're your brand, you can imagine that once you've effectively figured out how to fill your cup and take care of yourself, then you can not only lead by example of how to do that, but you can lead by people watching you do that. Like they're going to watch you, but then you can also tell them how to do it, okay? So just remember though, as you are a person, you're leading people. You're not leading robots who want to work off of structures and schedules and you're leading people who also are challengers or coaches or people that you're talking to in your network. You're leading them, followers on social media, whatever it is. So those people, just like you, have doubts and insecurities and off days and things going on in their life. They're not building a Beachbody business in a vacuum. So the expectations that you have for your downline coaches should be in line with the expectations that you have for yourself, which is take care of their hearts, take care of them, and let them take care of themselves, and encourage them with resources. Your job is not to teach them just how to build a business. It's to be a mentor to them and lead by example of what it looks like to be a fulfilled person, because that's how you're going to feel fulfilled in your life outside of this business, but also how your business is going to skyrocket, right? I guarantee you in your head, I don't want you to type in the chat, you can think of probably 3 people that you love to follow on social media that are on our team that are probably killing it with this business if you like to follow them. I bet you they're happy. I bet you they're pretty dang fulfilled. And I bet you they're really freaking excited about life. So instead of looking at them and thinking that they do this better than you, look at you and think, why do I feel overwhelmed at times? Why am I not functioning at optimal level? What's going on with me? It's a me thing, right? You can preach all day long about vision and Success Club and the importance of all of these things. And I would prefer to preach. Like I love preaching, and you guys know I actually don't normally ever prep for team calls. I just get on and say kind of whatever I'm thinking, which is fun. But also I think it's really important to process and implement and go through the mindset of learning as you're going and then teaching your team how to do the things that you've learned, not just some stuff that you're learning as you go, but also what you've learned so that you can be functioning at optimal level. If you have a really good vision, but you're not in the right mindset, the vision doesn't seem like it's even possible, you know? So I want you guys to think a little bit more about, like I said, we lead people in this business. We have people that we're working with that have brains that need to be functioning at optimal level. They need to be in the right mindset, and boundaries need to be in place to protect their hearts and to protect their relationships. So you get in this business what you create, but also the kicker that people seem to forget, you create content and challenge groups, and you create this like relationship with people, and then you invite them, but you also get what you allow in this business. And people miss that all the freaking time, which is why I have coaches that have teams that are about the size of Fit Foundation that are very stressed out that come to me. And one of the things that I'm going to do my freaking best to possibly prepare you when your organizations start to grow to the magnitude of Fit Foundation, to prepare you with the skills so that you don't feel the overwhelm. Because truthfully, I don't feel the overwhelm. And we have a 2,200, maybe 2,400 person downline. Yes, of course, I have off days. Of course, sometimes I want to pull my hair out of my head. I want to cry. I do cry, whatever. Stuff like that happens, but I don't feel the magnitude of constantly like I'm in the go, 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 go mindset. And I want you guys to have that too. But the reason is because proactively and early, I set boundaries and I adapt them as my business grows. So if you ever feel like you don't have control over your own business, it's because you actually allowed people to step over a boundary that maybe you didn't even realize it was actually a boundary because you haven't identified it or defined it that way, but likely they overstepped a boundary. So a boundary is like a structure, right? Or it's something that determines what exists in your business and what will not exist. So the leader, because like I said, we're all leaders, the leader sets the boundaries and determines what's okay and what's not okay. And you get to decide that. So you get to show people where they can and cannot step in your life and in your business. Otherwise, if you don't show them, they will walk all over you and you will feel freaking stressed out of your mind. So here's a couple questions for you. When do you work the business? Have you even made that decision? I bet you a lot of you haven't. When is it on a weekly basis that you've decided I'm working the business? Or are you the person who's constantly on your phone? Are you the person who constantly has Facebook tab open all day long, who constantly is checking your phone, who constantly, you work a full-time corporate job, but Facebook's always up in the background? You need to decide when you're going to work this business, because it's going to feel a lot better when you have a check in and a check out. Otherwise, you're doing this all day long, right? Or you're doing this in all these crazy little cracks. Maybe that works for you, but predetermining what those cracks are going to look like, that's going to feel a lot better. Remember that it's going to change, right? Like what I do now in my business and what I did at the very beginning, those are very different things. What I allow and what I didn't allow, those are very different things. These things, these parameters and these boundaries that you're setting, they're going to adapt and grow with your business. Okay. But remember, you're deciding what feels good to you, and you're deciding what's okay for the way that people treat you and the way that people interact with you. So for example, when I was building my business, especially the first year, before I left the corporate world, I would do Zoom calls on Saturday and Sunday mornings. And pretty regularly. I blocked off a chunk of time. So that was my work time, and I would check in with downline coaches. For those of you that have been around for a while, I was like, anyone that wants to build a business, talk to me. I'm so excited. So I would do that. And I set those parameters, and I felt really great about it, and Sina knew, and it was awesome. And I made plans around those parameters. Now, at this point in my business, 90% of the time I don't work on Saturdays or Sundays. Definitely not Saturdays, and Sundays just at night for an hour or two. Right? But I set that up for what my schedule looks like and feels like, because it feels better for me now. Does that mean that you're not going to have to work more at the beginning if you have big goals? Of course you're going to have to work more at the beginning. But here's the thing. You get to decide what that looks like. You should, your call, but I think you should have a life when you're building this business. You can 100% still go to happy hour. You can 100% take a Saturday off and be present with your family and only check into your challenge groups. You can 100% have a date night and not feel guilty that you didn't do any invites and all you do is post on Facebook and check into your challenge groups and do your personal development. Okay? But you get to decide those parameters. If you don't decide any, how is anyone going to know when it's okay or when they're overstepping those boundaries? As a leader, even if you're just leading challengers, or even if you're leading one coach, or maybe you're leading a team of 50 coaches, you have to create those boundaries. Otherwise, people don't know them, and you're teaching your team to do what you're doing. Just like we talk about this, I've talked about this a lot on team calls, but in challenge groups, I do not check into challenge groups all day long. I check into challenge groups typically in the morning and at night, maybe once in the middle of the day if I'm feeling super saucy. But I don't check in all day long because I am teaching, by example, my challengers to duplicate what I'm doing when they're coaches. And most of my coaches come from challenge groups. I'm teaching them that, okay? It doesn't need to be this crazy like business plan, because what happens is a lot of people hear a call like this and they're like, okay, I'm going to get off this call. I'm going to make a legit business plan and they're going to color code it and it's going to be perfect. Truth is, the plan is going to be so individual to what looks good for you, right? What feels good internally for you. And if you think that there's only one way to get to success in this business, you haven't met any of the leaders on this team. Because all of us are so different and all of us have very different ways of building this business and have seen tons of success in this business from doing it our way that feels good, okay? So when you're also thinking about parameters and structure and kind of boundaries that you're setting, do you catch yourself feeling guilty about something ever? Like, I think you should feel guilty if you don't check into your challenge groups. I think that's why you signed up, is to help people, and you're letting people down that are counting on you. I think you should feel guilty if you fall asleep and never checked into your challenge groups. Yeah, you should. Do I think you should feel guilty about anything else? Nope, not at all. To go to bed with messages in your inbox? Nope, not at all. Honestly, I don't. But that being said, it comes with a balancing act where, like, if you want to build this business, you're going to have to work hard. You're going to have to put the time into it. But I don't think you should identify yourself as a bad person or a bad coach if you misstep or if you don't get to something because something else was of a higher priority at that time. That's okay, okay? I'm not giving you an out to say it's okay to make excuses, but I'm giving you an out to say it's smart to build a business and a structure that feels good to you. I honestly don't think it's possible to build a 6-figure plus business if you don't hit Success Club. I really have never seen it happen. So someone can prove me wrong, but I've never seen someone build in a quick way without hitting Success Club. I think that's pretty foundational. That's bringing people into your business. That's helping people. That's why you signed up. So I do think that's really important, and I stick my guns on that. But I do think you can find a way to do this in a way that feels good. Do you know when you're logging out of Facebook? Do you have a time for that? Right? I'm like really weird where I love to work late at night, and sometimes some of my coaches will be like, why are you up? But I get like super inspired at night. That works for me, right? If that doesn't work for you, that doesn't work for you. You've got to do what works for you, okay? Are you putting your phone on airplane mode ever? Or are you constantly attached to it like it's literally a limb? If you want to be attached to it, that's fine. That's your call. I don't. I'll go hours without responding to a text message sometimes. I don't feel bad at all. I put my phone in a separate room sometimes. I literally will be like, shoot, where is my charger? I don't even know. My phone's been dead for an hour. I do that because that feels good to me. Is that responsible as a business person? I think it's responsible because it feels good. So it's responsible. Do you have date nights? Do you have girls' nights? Do you have family time? Do you plug that into your calendar? Like, I think it's just so important. And I'm a big calendar person. Maybe it's the project manager side of me. But I also do that because I want my life to be about relationships with the people that make my world go round. So I have to bullet that out, right? I heard from another coach. I can't remember. It was like a training call that I watched. And what she actually does that I think is really cool is she makes a list of people, and I do this too. She makes a list of people that are her highest priority people, like her inner circle people. And those people, based off of her own decision, for me it's weekly, those people get reached out to on a one-on-one basis weekly. I call my grandma every single week, no matter what, no matter how crazy it is. I call my grandma every single week, and I talk to her for at least 30 minutes. There are certain best friends of mine outside of this business that I talk to every single week, no matter what. Even if it's just a quick text, like I don't have time to have a chat, or it is an actual phone call, because my priorities is that, my inner circle, right? My priorities, your priorities are going to be something different, but make a list of those things, make a list of those people, and then build your schedule around that. Does that mean that you don't have to do business building activities? No, of course you do. Like, if you're going to take this context, like or this call and some of the things that we're chatting about tonight and say, oh, okay, so Kacia just gave me a permission slip to like make excuses all the time. Excuses are different from honoring your priorities. You can do it all. I have coaches that I work with who are full-time working moms who are so ridiculously present with their kids and with their husbands, and they work full-time jobs. There is someone on our team who's literally getting chemo who is making this work, right? There are people that have crazy busy things going on in their life. I talked about Kaylee, and Kaylee shared her story before. Kaylee didn't have water on in her house at one point in time, and she was still working her business. So you get to decide your excuses, and I'm going to call BS on all of them. But you get to first decide your priorities. And what I want you to do and what I'm challenging you to do is to set actual boundaries within your business. The same thing like that you would want to do to your coaches. You would want your coaches to build a life and build a way to build this business that is sustainable over time. I have a coach who I absolutely love, who would go through seasons where she would be like gung-ho, a bazillion invites, and then she would take a step back. And I would always tell her, no, do not go do 50 invites tonight. You literally do not have the bandwidth. You will burn out. Do I think that it's very easy, and I will say easy to do 5 hey girl messages a day? If you do not have 5 minutes in a day, like, do you brush your teeth? Like, come on, you can make this work. But the reason that you feel like you're overwhelmed is because you're not honoring your priorities first, so you don't feel good. Certain people in this business that send me messages, they get to wait. And I don't feel bad about that. I don't feel guilty. I don't feel bad if a message is in my inbox that I didn't answer from a downline coach that I haven't personally talked to yet. I don't feel bad about it because I honor my people, my inner circle, and then I honor my coaches that are building this business first. Then I honor those other people. Excuse me. I think it's just really smart to be aware of what you need to fill you up. And most often that's relationships. And that's time. And if you're someone who likes to meditate or journal, or you do whatever it is to make you in a peaceful state, don't you think it's a little ridiculous? And I don't want to be rude, but I'm going to be rude if I need to be rude. It's ridiculous if your business is yourself that you don't block that time out. If you know that 15 minutes of meditating, if that's your thing, or yoga, or I don't know, whatever it is, if that's going to make you feel more lit up, you have to do that for your health, for your happiness, but also for your business. And it's very irresponsible as a leader if you have big goals with this business, which I'm guessing if you're listening to me talk or you're watching this recording, you probably have big goals with this business. It's irresponsible for you not to take care of yourself. Does that mean that you have to have a 6-pack abs? No, I've never had a 6-pack and I've done just fine in this business. But what it does mean is I do take care of myself. I have unplugged time. I don't feel like I'm a slave to my inbox. I feel very balanced because I'm blocking off times and honoring my priorities, knowing that no one's going to die if I don't respond to their message. And I feel at peace with the fact that that's okay. If something else trumps that, that's okay with me. And if you're coming from this place of lack and insecurity that, oh, like if I don't send them a link right now, they're not going to buy the challenge pack, then they're not your person anyways. Because my people that connect with me, that I built a relationship with, they're not going to go anywhere. They're never going to buy 21 Day Fix from anyone on this call because they're going to come with me if I built a strong enough relationship, right? So you get to focus on that. And if you're full of love and light and happiness because you're taking care of yourself, you better believe you're going to be able to pour into others. So like I said, I do have this inner circle of people that I keep up with on a regular basis. I think this applies to life, not just business. A lot of times we can get really caught up in Beachbody and excited. And remember to make time for your people that are not involved in your business. And I think that's really important. Also, honor your coaches who are not giving you the same story every single time that you talk to them, okay? There are people in this business that you can't serve because they need to see a therapist, honestly. And that sounds really, really harsh, but we want to be helpers. We want to care for people. We want to give personal development resources. That is our job. Give resources. But you are not a therapist. You're not a tax advisor. I mean, maybe you are in your full-time job. You are not a financial consultant. Maybe you are in your full-time job. But your job as a coach, you're not a marriage counselor. You're not a financial consultant. You're not a tax advisor. You're not a therapist. So be aware of your own boundaries and how you can serve people. It's very, very important to make sure that you're taking care and honoring yourself. And that's not just a service to you, that's a service to that person. You don't want to give bad information on taxes or finances or something to do with like therapy, something that they need to go work through. Therapy is great. Everyone should go to therapy. Like, I want to go to marriage counseling and we're not even married. I think it's so great. So know what you can provide and what you can help with. Okay. Same thing with coaches. So one thing that I do that is really helpful for me, that's a boundary that I set very early on, is coaches do not text me about coaching related things. I don't text with my coaches. So the more lines and open sources of communication that you have, the more overwhelmed that you feel. Obviously, if someone can send me a Facebook message, but I don't respond, and then they can call me on the phone, and they can text me, and then they can email me, and then they can write on my wall, and then they could, I don't have a Twitter, they could tweet at me or whatever. If they could do all of that stuff, can you imagine how overwhelmed I would feel? But I set those boundaries early, and I stick to those boundaries. If I have coaches who text me about business-related questions, I tell them to copy and paste their text and put it in Facebook. And I explain it. I explain it in a way where I don't do business on my phone. If you want to talk to me about manicures or relationships or yoga pants or like twerking, yeah, you can text me. Like, we'll text about that if we have that kind of friendship. But I'm not going to talk to you about team cycle bonuses. I'm not going to talk to you about calling coach relations for you. I'm not going to talk to you about that stuff on my text, because when I'm on Facebook or when I'm in my email, that's my work time. I have to differentiate those things, because what's going to happen? You're going to start texting me, and I'm saying but make this applicable in your own situation. You're going to start texting me about all of these business related questions. And when I see your name pop up on my phone, instead of being excited that you're going to talk to me about The Bachelor, I'm going to think that you're going to ask me about a return about a customer, and I'm not going to want to talk to you. And then that sucks for me, and it sucks for you, and it sucks for us and our friendship. And so take that and apply it to your own life too, right? No, and anyone who's like, I can't text Kacia now. But that's not what I mean. What I mean is, I don't mean it in a mean way. I mean it in a way that I'm going to give you my attention when I can send you a voice message on Facebook that will stay there and not eliminate after like 1 second, like on text. I'm going to give you my business attention for a business building question when I'm in my business brain, because I work better that way. So know yourself and be self-aware enough to know, where does my business brain function most? If you're great and you love texting with all your coaches, wait until you have 100 PS coaches. Build this business in a way that's sustainable for you over time. There's a coach that's on the call right now that maybe she'll hear me say this and she'll laugh. She texted me something about the business, and right afterwards she was like, oh crap, I meant to send you this on Facebook message. And I just responded, I'm like, you're totally fine. But she sent it to me on Facebook message, and I answered it over there. It sounds so stupid, but I'll tell you, I have so much clarity and peace in my life that I don't get my phone blown up about random coach relation stuff. I handle it on Facebook, and I handle it when I'm in the right space. So figure out what that looks like for you. If you set those like standards with your coaches, with your customers, now you're going to be so happy later when you have tons of people. Think about it this way too. So say you get your first business building coach. That's really exciting. Or maybe you have a couple business building coaches. It's so easy to answer a question really quickly over Facebook, to be like, hey girl, yeah, so you just go here, go to your coach on the office, blah, 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 blah. If they're a new coach or they have a question that's a good question, which we're all very smart, capable people, so I'm sure we all have great questions. I mean, we all sometimes ask stuff that I'm like, go to Coach FAQ, but most of us have great questions. If you have a great question and you send that to your upline coach, wouldn't it be in your best interest as the leader and in their best interest to have you post that in your team page or in your business building page, if you have one of those? Wouldn't it be to your best interest to post it there? Search it first, empower them to be resourceful, right? It's never going to be a lack of resources on this team. It's going to be a lack of resourcefulness. So empower them to go find the answer first, so that you're teaching them how to find it, so they can then in turn teach someone how to find it. But you're also, if you have them post in a business building group or in a page, their question that's applicable to more people, you're not only saving yourself time because you don't have to answer that question multiple times because you're going to get it multiple times, but you're helping that coach to see that they have the, oh my gosh, me too, people who have the same question, who have the same fear, who are nervous about the same things, and they can get advice from not just you, but from someone who can connect with them because they posted it publicly. And it serves you because you don't have to answer that question multiple times, right? So start to get your brain now. Even if you're a brand new coach and you're like, I don't have any coaches asking me anything. I don't even have coaches. Same with challengers. If they send you a question to text, because you've opened up that line of communication, maybe close it, your choice, via text or via Facebook Messenger or email, however you communicate with them. If it's a question about a 21-day fix recipe, or is this okay? Hey girl, that's a great question. Can you post that in the challenge group? I feel like other people would want to know that answer. Then I can go live in the challenge group, or then I can just comment in there and other people can give their feedback too. Thank you so much for sending that to me. Even if you want to answer that question and it would be easier to answer that question, build with a long-term mindset. A long-term mindset that is like, I'm going to have 20 challengers in my challenge group and 5 of them are going to ask me questions about 21-day fix containers. Why don't I set the standard now that this is how my process is? Why don't I set the boundary that I don't answer questions that are applicable to multiple people in a private message? There's some things that obviously you want to build the relationships. Like if someone's telling me about a new apartment that they got or their new boyfriend, like obviously that's personal stuff. I'm talking about business stuff that's applicable to a wider audience. And if you think that it doesn't matter because you only have one builder right now, you are teaching that builder, this is a compound effects business, right? So you have your team and then they have their team and they have their team and it's going to grow and grow and grow. And if, like we talked about at the very beginning of the call, if you fill your cup, you have that belief that it's going to turn into that thing for you too, right? It's going to turn into something huge for you if that's your goal. So if you're operating from that belief set, wouldn't it be smart for you to set that standard now with your one builder that you have, that you don't communicate over text about coaching? Wouldn't it be smart for them to find that happy balance too, so that they can build and teach their coaches? Because exactly how you treat your coaches is what they're learning. They learn so much more from what you do than what you say. That's why we always talk about leading from the front. Here's the thing. Here's the caveat. I don't know if that's how you actually say the word, but here's the whatever about this. I talk about leading from the front. I talk about the question of the pace of the leader sets the pace of the pack. I talk about how if my coaches did what I did today, would they be successful? I think about those things all the time because I know that it's so much more important for my coaches to see me doing this versus hear me talking about it. If I'm going to say I post on Facebook every day, go to my Facebook right now. I post every single day. I don't miss a day because I'm going to preach it, so I'm going to do it. I'm not just going to teach it and then not apply it to myself. If I say Success Club is important, you bet your butt I'm hitting Success Club. Otherwise, what am I doing? I'm not practicing what I preach. Here is the disclaimer. If you are not taking care of yourself, you need to redefine what success looks like. Instead of coming from a place of insecurity, I have a couple of coaches that I think will probably resonate with this message, which I think is really powerful, is if you are in a state and you are self-aware, if you're a recovering perfectionist, if you struggle with anxiety, if you have issues like that where you start to totally beat yourself up when you're not setting the pace of like the leader, setting the pace of the leader, wouldn't it be smart as a leader and being self-aware enough with yourself to say, I'm going to give myself 1 week to pour into personal development, to post on social media, and to check into my challenge groups. I'm not going to decide that I suck every single day that I don't do my non-negotiables. I'm not going to decide that I suck every single day that I didn't do my invites or my hey girls. Instead, I'm going to be a leader and I'm going to decide that this is my week where I need to fill my cup till it's overflowing. And then next week, I'm going to hit it hard with those invites because I'm still going to hit Success Club, but I'm not going to let this thing in my head tell me I'm not good enough. I'm not a strong enough leader. I didn't do XYZ. You're not going to do that to yourself because you're a strong enough leader and you are self-aware enough with boundaries in place that will allow you to know that your number one priority above anything else is taking care of yourself. And if you are not taking care of yourself, you will not be successful. Period. Drop the mic. End. For real. So if you are coming from that place, and I have a coach that I'm thinking of in particular who I love, who's one of my coaches for a really long time, who has had a really difficult year this year. And she gets in her head about where she thinks she needs to be and how she thinks she needs to be leading. It's heartbreaking as an upline coach, and it's more heartbreaking as a friend to watch her go through this stage. And I know a lot of people do this. I don't struggle with anxiety, but I know a lot of people do. And I want to talk about the fact that you are and should feel empowered always with permission to decide what success looks like. And if that means you tell your team, I'm not mentally in a good place right now, I'm not going anywhere, I'm building this business, I'm with you guys, I'm hitting Success Club with you guys, I'm cheering you on. But right now, my main focus is I need to fill my cup. I'm going to take care of myself, and I'm still going to hit Success Club. I bet you, versus half-assing, sorry, I have to swear, it's just like I live in New York, half-assing throughout the entire month, doing your things and then feeling like you're failing all the time, right? You're like, oh, I kind of did my invites. I kind of did my blah, blah. Oh, like I suck at this. Like I'm such a bad leader. I'm not leader of the pace, like, or leader of the pack sets the pace, blah, blah. Like if my coaches did what I did, like they wouldn't be successful. I suck, blah. Okay, no. And I'm not making fun of it. I'm saying that's real. People feel that way. People really feel that way often, more than you would understand. So redefine what success looks like often, frequently, to what feels good for you, because you hold the power. You're always successful when you define your own success, right? That's pretty cool. You're the CEO. No one decides what's right or wrong for you to do in your business. And I bet you take a week and post on social media and stay present, because you lose all of your credibility if you drop off social media. Check into your challenge group because you owe it to them. Take care of yourself. But if you took that week to do that, I bet you can come back and hit it hard. Right? And you can still hit Success Club, and you can still lead from the back, lead from the front. I'm messing up that analogy, but you know what I mean. I think that's really important. And remember that you get to define what that is. And as your business starts to boom and starts to grow, you have to decide what channels of communication are going to be open with people. Okay. So what is okay for people to talk to you through? Who are the coaches that you're going to give your attention to first? I will tell you guys, and I'll be honest, and I have no problem saying this. There are coaches on this team that I will answer their messages first because I know how hard they're working. There are coaches on this team that I have to be in the right mental state to answer their questions because it's similar stories multiple times. Nothing wrong with them. I love them all. I love all of those coaches, but I'm aware enough with myself of, okay, am I in the mental space right now to give my best energy and attention to this coach who deserves it right now? Or should I sit on that one and wait? And I'll wait. And I do not feel bad about it. And I don't feel guilty about it. Right? I think it's really, really important for you to be as proactive as you can, but protect your energy first. If you're getting lots of similar questions from coaches, make a video. Make one video and send the video. You don't have to explain it over and over again. If you feel like your challengers are constantly asking questions about the container system, make a dang video. Even if you've only run one challenge group, you are empowered to be a magical unicorn and do your freaking challenge group video, even if you're nervous. Step outside your comfort zone. That's how you're going to grow. Don't you want to help people? Why are you on this call if you don't want to help people? If you want to help people, help yourself. And you know how you're going to help yourself? You're going to fill your cup and you're going to step outside your comfort zone when you don't want to. Guess what's outside of your comfort zone? Potentially making a video. Make a video for your challengers about the container system. I want you to remember that you should always feel empowered to set your own boundaries. You should always explain your boundaries to your downline in a way that can help them. So if all of a sudden you decide, okay, you guys, no coaches are allowed to text me. If I were to do that now, how awkward would that be? And everyone would be like, this girl is so rude. She smiles all the time on Facebook, but she is such a B word. People would think that because I would just be like cutting this and not explaining. So I explain, I set the standards and I set the tone in my business building check-in groups where I'm like, I don't check in on weekends. See you later. Like, I don't just say that, right? I've set the tone. My challengers, I check into my challenge groups every day, but my business building groups, my coaches understand, like when I say I'm on date night, I'm actually on date night. If you message me, I'm not going to respond to you. And I don't feel bad about it because I want them to feel empowered to build a business that feels good to them. Because if you don't have fun, if you don't feel fulfilled, if you don't set boundaries now, you won't be here in a year. Right? And a lot of coaches talk about being here in a year, and I think that's sort of bullshit because you have to be here and you have to do the work. A lot of people think it's just going to happen and they're just going to like show up on social media. You've got to hit Success Club and you've got to do the work, right? And then you need to teach your coaches. But if you don't take care of yourself, it doesn't matter because you won't be here in a year, right? So make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure that you're explaining to your coaches, like, I'm only going to be checking into this group twice a day, in the morning and at night, just so you guys know. It's not because I'm not obsessed with you guys, but it's because I want to give you my best energy in the morning and at night. And I want you guys to see this is totally possible for you to do this business too, or for you to build this type of structure. And I don't feel bad. And if I miss something, meh, I announce that I missed it. Hey guys, I totally sucked at this. By the way, I totally forgot to do this. Oops, pretend like this says happy Monday instead of happy Sunday. Whatever, I'm not making the graphic again. Like, I'm self-aware enough to know that that stuff doesn't make me feel like I suck, right? So make sure that you are honoring your boundaries. Make sure that you are recognizing that the most powerful way that you can impact people is by example. The most absolutely powerful way. People are going to follow in your footsteps. You better believe that I love that our team in the network of Beachbody is known for being a team with integrity, that's excited, that's ridiculously loud, but also balanced, right? I love that our team is known for that because that's the type of environment and team that I want to be a part of. I want to be part of a team that is excited about life, that feels balanced, that has strong relationships with their significant others and best friends, that knows that you can build this business with balance, but sometimes pulls that all-nighter because they have to, right? Maybe not an all-nighter, that's a little aggressive. But pulls that late night because they need to do the work, because they have hard work ethic, but they do it with balance and with boundaries. Your business is going to go through seasons, right? Hopefully it doesn't look like this because that's a little aggressive. But eventually when you find that good place, you set those boundaries, you communicate those boundaries to people and explain why it's important that you take care of yourself. You're not going to feel guilty when you miss something, and you're not going to feel guilty when you are you're not going to feel like you're looking at other people and wishing that you were them. You're not going to look at other people's businesses and wish that you could do it that way, because you know that you are building in a way that's honoring your priorities. You're cultivating a culture in your challenge groups and on your team that's growing, whether it's just you right now or it's you and 100 other coaches. You're cultivating a culture that is encouraging people to lift themselves up rather than you lift them all up. Because maybe you have 5 coaches on your team, maybe you have 10 coaches on your team. You could probably lift 10 people. Well, I mean, we're all pretty buff. But you could lift up 10 people's spirits, but you cannot lift up 2,000 people. And I'm telling you this from a place where I feel balanced. I feel excited. I felt this way when I was working 50 hours a week at Google. I swear to you. Of course, I had moments where I'd freak out and pull my hair out of my head, but I felt balanced because I was honoring myself and I was actually doing the damn personal development. So I love you guys. That's really what I wanted to share with you guys. I know it's kind of random, but it's been really like heavy on my heart to watch people struggle that can't set effective boundaries. And it's really important to me that you guys understand the power that you have in teaching your downline coaches what it looks like and what it feels like to be balanced, because you're leading from you feeling that way, not just acting that way, because you can only fake it. I don't like fake it till you make it. I did that in college all the time. But I don't like that in this business, because if you're not authentic and you don't feel good, people can feel it. So take care of yourself first, always. I love you guys. If you guys have any questions, I'll stay on here for a second. Yay. I wasn't even reading the chat, so I apologize if there was questions. Oh, you guys are blowing up the chat. Okay, I love you guys. I'm going to stop recording. I hope you guys have a wonderful